Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Kayak Fishing Weekly as a part of the Serious Angler Network, where we talk tiny plastic boats. And I'm so excited to have you here with us today. We've got a great guest who's joining us over from the West Coast to talk a little bit about his life in Oregon and, of course, some West Coast fishing. Let's bring on our guest, Brandon Hua. All right, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are joined by West Coast kayak angler all the way from Oregon on the other side of the world for me, Brandon Hua. Brandon, what is going on, man? How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, dude. It's finally getting cooler here in the Pacific Northwest, and that just means that the bite's about to get good again.
Nice. Let me ask you this. What, because we always throw these terms out, I was watching Tactical Bass the other day. They're talking about the fall transition. It's like 90 degrees in Georgia. What does cooler look like for you guys up in Oregon?
So I think we're about to drop into like the 50s next week or something. We got some rain coming in for sure.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, this fall transition has been actually a lot longer than usual. I was just out yesterday and it was like still 73-degree water temp, which is pretty warm for this time of the year. But obviously, once that gets into the 60s, and we usually get a big feed going to some of these bigger fish. So,
I got you. I got you. I was on Lanier yesterday doing a milk run. Big fish area where I know,
mhm.
they're always there. Dude, I was expecting the water. I was like, man, hopefully it'll be 75 because I've only found big fish in these areas when the water's cooler.
Mhm.
Um, Headed out there, water's like 82 degrees, man,
Yeah,
83 degrees. I was like, we're far off, man. I need to back up a little bit, go somewhere else.
yeah.
Just caught a bunch of dinks, dude.
It's funny. I was talking to one of my buddies, and he lives in Nevada, and I was complaining to him. I was like, "Dude, the water temp's still so warm." He's like, "What is it?" I'm like, 73. He's like, "Bro, it's like 88 over here." I was like, "Ooh, dang." It's like, man, I should stop
Yeah.
complaining about that. But yeah,
Yeah, that's boiling. The dude, man, thank you so much for being here, man. I always appreciate people making time to join in, tune in, and I know the listeners are in for a great show, man. I dude, I found you on YouTube, man. You were doing a rigging video, I believe, of a sniper marine pole, man. That's when I first found your video,
yeah.
and I was like, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. Quality video, quality content. Followed you over on Instagram, and then saw you at ICAST this time.
Hmm.
Um, Awkwardly for the first time, and I say awkwardly because we all know each other on social media, and then you go to something like the Classic or you go to ICAST, and you're like, I think I know you. I'm pretty sure that's you,
Yeah.
but I'm not sure at the same time. Yeah, yeah.
It's always funny how that happens. I know. I think this was my third iCast. So like I remember my first time there, I was like, pretty sure that's blah blah blah. And I was like, I can never tell. And then it's like
Yeah.
it's funny because everybody's always has shades on, a hat and all that stuff, and then everybody's in
Mhm.
completely different attire at iCast, obviously. A little more casual or business casual type look usually, and then you're just like looking kind of different.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I will say this, man, like there's some people that I'm like, oh, you're way shorter than what I thought. And then there's a couple of people I'm like, man, you're like super tall. Like this is not what I was expecting. But it's always fun and it's always a good time, man. But you know, tuning in now for people that maybe don't know you that well yet or haven't caught on to your journey yet, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into kayak fishing, you know, what you're doing out in Oregon, what your focus is right now, man. Why don't you fill us all in on that?
Yeah, so I've fished pretty much my entire life. My pops is a big fisherman. He taught me since I was literally just a couple years old. I always started off as traditional Pacific Northwest species. So I'm born and raised in the Pacific Northwest here in Oregon. And, it's like trout fishing, salmon fishing, sturgeon fishing, go out to the coast and do some surf perch, pretty much all those type of things. And then I think I was like 16 years old. My pops and I, we made a trip to Idaho to go fish the Snake River, fish for crappie. And we
Mhm.
would, in the evening time, just go find a little bush on the bank or something, throw a little crappie jigs and catch smallies. So that got me into bass fishing. I started off tournament fishing back in 2013. That was when I fished with Oregon State University. So I was on their college team. So boat stuff was my beginning. Fished as a co-angler for I think like 6 or 8 years, something like that, and then eventually got a boat for 2 years. Fished as a boater, realized the boat's way too expensive, so I got rid of it, and
Yeah.
it was perfect timing. My local dealer out here, Next Adventure, actually reached out to me and wanted me to try out some fishing kayaks. So when my boat went down, or when I got rid of it, my truck actually got totaled, and that made me sell my boat because I needed a reliable truck to do all my ventures and stuff. But yeah, jumped in like a Slayer Max was like the first kayak I got into. Tried out Hobie, they let me borrow whatever I needed to, and then yeah, that pretty much started it. So for me, like I built a John boat back in the day. It was a little 14-foot John boat, put a deck on it, trolling motor. So small fishing out of a small craft, watercraft, was always like my bread and butter back in the day. So fishing in a kayak, like I'm just, I don't know, it feels the same to me. So
Yeah.
the transition there was super easy and it's fun. And I think it's just cool that what I realized at the kayak community, it's like I don't know. When I was in the basketball world, like, there's always some egos and stuff. But in the kayak community, like, if someone does well, even though you didn't do well, everybody's still cheering at the award ceremony. People show up to the
Yeah.
award ceremony, and it's cool. So, like, yeah, it's been super cool.
That's awesome, man. I want to go back to a couple of things you said. But man, let me ask you this because you're in Oregon and you just made that statement that and this is no shade on boaters. I have some friends that own boats and they're phenomenal people, but dude, there is a big difference. And that's not, it's not one of those things that I'm just saying, but it's something that the entire community sees. Why do you think you've been in boats and in kayaks? Why do you think there's such a difference in culture between boaters and kayak anglers?
I don't know. I just think there's a lot more on the line, I guess, for most people. I
Mm,
definitely feel like that some people for as a boater standpoint are like very hush hush about their stuff, like talk tackle,
yeah,
video recordings. This like you can see the placement of the GoPros are much lower so that you can't really see everything.
yeah,
Meanwhile, us guys, so like we try to put them as high as we can, but I don't know. I think that plays in a role into it. There's just much bigger stakes. Obviously, they have a much bigger investment into fishing tournaments and stuff like that. But obviously the kayak culture is not like it's new, but I think it's a little it's competitive, but not as competitive in like that deep of a comparison. I don't know if that makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah. It does. I think my opinion on it is too. Like for example, boaters, bass boat guys have been competing for a long time compared to kayak anglers, and then a lot of times too this whole kayak angling thing started because of access and affordability and kind of just, I can go put in at this small pond or this small lake and, you know, it's just right here, right now in this moment that tournaments are really those big stage tournaments with the big rigged out kayaks in the last couple of years have really gotten that attention and notoriety. Whereas boaters, they've been doing this for a minute. They've been competing for a minute. And like you said, it's very there's a lot on the line sometimes,
Mhm.
especially for those guys that are really trying to make a living out of this. So you're right. And you said it wasn't hard for you to transition from a boat to a kayak?
No, I mean, there's several things, obviously, when I had my John boat, like I was used to having fishing in a small vessel, limited on where I can go, all that stuff, but also fishing as a co-angler, I was pretty much stuck with a tackle bag and, 5 or 6 rods. So, I didn't feel like I needed a whole bunch of space to hold my tackle and all that stuff. So that was pretty simple. I'm also a very detailed and slow fisherman, I guess you could say. I'm not like a
Hmm.
trolling motor on high, going burning down the bank. I like to have, a handful of areas and pick them apart like pretty damn well. So that's I think it,
Okay.
for kayak fishing it worked for me. Like even when I had my bass boat, I always redid all my tackle boxes, all my like 3,700 boxes for like that day. So I never carried like all my crankbaits, all my chatterbaits, all my topwater baits in there. So like I kept it pretty minimalistic. So I think it was pretty easy transition for me.
Okay. Okay. So a little more methodical, well thought out. The exact opposite of me, dude. I'm like a caveman when I get up there. I'm just like I've got 3 rods, dude, and, if I'm not running at least 2.5 miles an hour, I'm like, what am I doing?" You know,
Yeah,
like, yeah, it's hard, bro. I'm gonna make a confession right now, dude. I dragged a bait yesterday with Alex Rudd, uh, in a river for the first time since, late May, early June of this year.
dang.
Yeah, and I'm not like, no exaggerating, no stories, like, it has been that long, dude, since I've dragged a bait.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just always chucking and winding. Is it typically I see you been doing a lot of
Yeah,
glides and stuff.
yeah, dude, my buddy Eric, he's been throwing big baits for a while, and I've been so watching, learning, you know, watching guys on YouTube trying to get the right. I will say that if there's something new, I'll take my time before I, like, dive in, make sure I like it, make sure I got the right gear.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, this year, man, has been the year of just experimenting with glide baits. We've got bullshead swim baits.
mhm,
With Mike Buka.
mhm,
He is about an hour and a half away from me.
yeah,
So I got to spend some time with him, and that was a blast. Just having him teach me like one on one, and kind of just ran with it from there, bro. So it's been a blast and
yeah,
a lot of fun figuring out how to work them and present them in moving water. So yeah, it's been good. But as far as for you, like you covering, tell us about Oregon fishing, man. What is that like? Is it similar to California fishing? Would you lump West Coast all in like the same area, or are there unique differences?
mhm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, Oregon fishing is I guess you can say it's kinda unique. Like, we don't have massive bodies of water here. Like, they're not huge
Okay.
whatsoever. Like, I remember the first time I went to Clear Lake, and I'm like, "Is this even a lake?" I'm like, "Am I in the ocean?" Like, it's like, Clear Lake looks massive compared to anything we have here, so that makes it tough actually for tournaments out here because you can only fit so many boats, so many kayaks on some of these bodies of water, and it really
Wow.
limits, like, what tournament waters are possible. Like, we have, like, 10 Mile Lake, that's a popular one. Actually has a north and a south lake, so that one usually a lot of bigger tournaments go out of there. But other than that, a lot of people go out to, like, the Columbia River. That's our big, like, body of water. That thing is what I can't remember. I think it's, like, 2,800 miles or something. It's, like, a mile
Yeah.
wide at most parts of it. So, like, those 2 are, like, kind of our big bodies of water, and there's some other ones and stuff too, but from a tournament standpoint, that's about it. A lot of lakes and reservoirs, a lot of dam control for irrigation out here.
Hmm.
A lot of stuff is pretty, natural. There's a lot of man-made stuff as well, but smallmouth and largemouth is pretty much what we have here. We do have a spot that's, has some spotted bass and stuff like that, but yeah, I mean, all northern largemouth up here. Smallmouth is probably a little more popular, but we do get some big largemouth that
Okay.
guys catch out here. There's been some tens that people have caught, but haven't really, obviously blown up about it. But
Yeah. So tell me, have there been I think I heard, I'm not sure, but are there like big things happening on the Columbia River right now up there?
what do you mean by
Like as
big
far as like
things?
big bags being caught, is that
I
right?
mean,
Or
there's, you'll go catch 20, 25 pound, 20, 25 pounds of, mixed bag of largemouth or
Mhm.
smallmouth in the spring and stuff like that. I almost had 100 inches of smallmouth 2, 3 weeks ago out there on the Columbia. So,
Oh
I
wow.
mean, we had a tournament earlier this year in, I think it was May, for Kayak Fishing Northwest, which is the tournament organization up here in the Pacific Northwest. And I think it took 97 inches to win. I had 96 and a half. Another guy had 96 and a half. So, big river system, whole bunch of fish. Usually that's where our native no limit is up there.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of fish in there. You hit it on the right time, like you can catch over 100 fish in a day easily.
Yeah. Dude, that's so special, man. I mean, I barely get to chase smallmouth out here. We had a couple of smallmouth lakes here in Georgia, but the spots, they took over.
Hmm.
So they're pretty much gone. We have some in the Savannah River. They're not native. They were introduced there some time back. But man, I mean, you at Del Hollow this year
Mm-mm,
for the Bassmaster? No?
no.
Okay. Dude, that man, that was an experience for me. Like going up there and just like catching those mixed bags of smallies and largemouth. Dude, I about lost my mind, bro. Like,
We have a bunch of that out here
yeah,
too. Like my home lake, Henry Hag Lake, I think it's yeah, it still has a state record smallmouth, like a 9 pound smallmouth out of it. This was years ago. But
insane.
there's like you can catch like you hit it on the right time, like you can catch 4 pound largemouth, 4 pound smallmouth, like off the same spot, and it's crazy. Yesterday, I was out there on the home lake and I was fishing this hump, catch a bag of largemouth, and then right next to it, smallmouth. I'm like, okay, like it just random.
Yeah.
But a lot of our bodies of
Yeah.
water are like that too, so it's pretty cool. We have good chances at either or. But yeah, I mean, smallmouth. I remember when I took Jeff Little and Jameson Redding. He was Jameson Redding
Yeah.
was doing a road trip angler episode out here, and I was like, hey, you want to do some river fishing for smallmouth? They're like, yeah. And I took them to the Columbia, and they're like, this is a river, and they're like, this is not what
Yeah.
we have back east. It's
Yeah.
just a
No,
mile
no.
wide. I was like, yeah, we just got to cross it, no big deal.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I've seen pictures and videos, man. It's crazy. It's insane.
It's pretty
Um,
cool scenery out there, sitting in the gorge and all that, just mountains on both sides. Sweet.
yeah. Yeah. My brother's been out there, man. He said it's super underrated, that
Mhm.
whole area, and that people have no idea what they're missing out on that side of the country. So it's really special, and I feel like you guys, man. Do you feel like a little disconnected sometimes being so far from the southeast? Because here in the southeast, man, I could like throw a rock and there's like a lure making company here, and then I could throw another one. It's like tackle warehouses over there, and then throw another one, and it's like there's another. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you guys feel like a little disconnected sometimes?
I mean, I think that's fair to say. That
Yeah,
was one reason why I started making content is just because like you get all these videos and tactical bassin, for example, they'd be like, yeah, now it's time to start throwing your pre-spawn baits and stuff. We're like, dude, we're still in winter up here. Like it doesn't even
yeah,
apply. Or like these guys giving tips on like shad lakes or herring lakes or whatever, and we're like, we got trout eaters out here. That's all we got. So, there's always
yeah,
been a
yeah,
disconnect in that aspect. And that's what thing that I got started and, just shining some light on the Pacific Northwest too. But that's definitely like, one thing
yeah.
is, yeah, there is definitely a disconnect.
Man, that is such a good point, dude. I'm one of those people that for years I was, just so lost in that this is like fishing. Like this corner of the world right here,
Hmm.
like, this is it. So I've never even once thought like, okay, Tactile Bassin dropped a video or, whoever dropped a video. And it's like, yeah, this is it right here. This is the pattern. But then, I met people like Bailey and the guys way up north, and they're like, yeah, we're still frozen up here.
Hmm.
I mean, we're not doing any of that. And then I made a few buddies like up in Ohio, and it's like, no, that doesn't apply either. And you guys out there, not only are you disconnected like as far as by miles, but somewhat like a little bit culturally as well. It's like a totally different vibe and culture, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bodies of waters are set up different, landscape, all that. So yeah, that plays a role. Yeah, I remember like, Tactile Bassin, they used to be out at Clear Lake. That's, initially where they're
hmm,
from. So even a West Coast, YouTube page was still completely different from us, even though they're literally just one state down. When they're talking about pre-spawn and spawn, we're still, low 40s water temp up here, and fish haven't even thought about
right.
moving up shallow.
Yeah, yeah, that's very true, man. Are you guys mostly in clear water too, like high visibility areas, or
Yeah, I
do you
mean,
have some stained reservoirs?
it depends. We got definitely get some places like out at the coast here in Oregon, massive algae blooms happening. But that's because like those lakes are much shallower. So there's always algae blooms, and you'll get like in the springtime, like this year, 10 Mile, it was like 5 foot visibility. Like which is pretty good for out here, and that's probably one of the best I've seen it out there. Like I was bed fishing, I could actually see them 4 to 5 feet down, which is cool. But then like you go back a month and a half later when it starts to warm up, and you'll get less than 1 foot biz because of the algae bloom. But most of the places here, yeah, they're pretty clean. We do get a lot of rain, a lot of snow runoff, so the spring takes a while for it to
Okay.
get clear. But and a lot of lakes around here, it's like a lot of clay bank, mix of some rock and stuff. So when it does rain, and we get a lot of rain up here, it does muddy up the water quite a bit. So it fluctuates a whole bunch. But I also think that's one of the cool parts is like you can't obviously just go back every single day and expect the same conditions. Things are always changing.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this, because I've heard you say this a couple times now. You know, when you can hit it right, you know, you'll have a really good bag. What is like so if, for anybody listening right now, they've never been up there, and hypothetically, let's say you've got someone who wants to take a trip up there, have a good day of fishing. What's the best time of the year to fish up in Oregon in your area, just generally speaking?
Probably April, mid-April.
April. Why is that?
That's usually pre-spawn when they start moving up shallow. Whether it's a Columbia River, you want to go chase some big smallmouth, or hit one of our, largemouth lakes. It's usually a good time. Obviously, we have some lakes that are like higher elevations; those are going to be much slower. But I think if you really just want to hit it right and hit a couple places where big smallmouth or largemouth, it's a good time. I was actually fishing Columbia River in end of March and put out back to back 100-inch bags out there. So it's, it just depends. Like obviously the weather seems to be a little bit warmer earlier in the year. I don't global
Mhm.
warming, whatever you want to call it. But usually mid April is a good time.
Okay. And break that down for me. If I'm out there in mid-April, I mean, what's Brandon Hua throwing? What areas are you working, and where's your mindset at when you're trying to put together that 100-inch bag? Because I've seen your social media, bro. I've seen your pictures and your videos. So I've seen some impressive fish, man,
Yeah,
for sure.
appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, just I just kind of like the basic one-on-one stuff. Like you're looking at these like stopping points that they're gonna make from wherever they're setting up in the wintertime. So obviously colder, so these fish are going to be a little bit deeper for the most part, depending on the body of water. And they're going to kind of make their way to the spawning areas. So hitting some of those spots, if it's a lake, main lake point, secondary point, stuff like that. If for somewhere like the Columbia River, they don't usually winter down like too far from where they plan to go spawn. So hitting like a ledge out on the river or like a wing dam or a point, stuff like that. Nothing too crazy, just kind of figuring out where's the main spawning areas on these bodies of water and trying to kind of hit those little pit stops on the way.
Okay. So definitely some things that, can translate from the East Coast over
Yeah.
to the West Coast,
Yeah, I
you
don't
know?
think it's pretty much one-on-one stuff. So I don't think that it
Mhm.
changes whether it's on the East Coast, West Coast. I think the way the body of water is laid out, whether it's like, rocky on the banks or there's that reeds or tules, that might play a different role. But I'm a big offshore fisherman. That's kind of what I've always done, even
Mm.
back in the days when I had a John boat and a little 5-inch screen. Like I've always loved offshore fishing, so understanding contours and stuff like that is something that plays a big role for me. So, looking at maps and figuring out exactly where these fish might be, where they might go, something that's unique, that you can't see with your visual eye on the water, and that stuff is always helpful.
Awesome. So that's really interesting, man. So you're out there when we're getting hit with that pre-spawn, you're about a month out and you're sticking to those 101 basics, those fundamentals. Let's flip that. What is the most challenging time of the year for you guys out there?
The most challenging time of the year. Oh, I don't know. It's honestly, I feel like that summer to fall transition that we're kind of going through right now.
That late
It can be
summer,
just
yeah.
a difficult time to find size. It depends. Obviously, a little different everywhere you go. I think for most of your lakes and reservoirs, like it's still again 72, 75 degree water temp. It just has we haven't had that cold spell to really trigger them to want to get
Mhm.
feeding. A lot of times, our reservoirs, they're fluctuating water levels for irrigation. So one year it could be a much higher, and then it could be 10 feet lower this year because it just depends how much water it needs. So there's a lot of different
Okay.
factors that play into it, and finding size can be difficult. Columbia River, that's kind of, I don't think that one's too difficult, because you got wind that blows in the Columbia River, which seems like almost every single day. It can get pretty nasty out there. That helps trigger bites. You can catch them shallow, you can catch them deep. It just kind of depends what's playing for the day.
Yeah. What's the deepest you're fishing out on the Columbia River?
I mean, I've got a smallmouth in like 70 something feet of water, like a bluff
Yeah.
wall that goes straight down. And I mean, I can't say I've done it many times, but I've fished as a co-angler and had a guy take me to a bluff wall, and I'm like, holy crap, I got to put down a half-ounce weight for my drop shot so I can get it
Yeah.
down there quick enough. And I actually caught like a, I don't know, not a huge smallmouth, but I did catch one.
Yeah. Dude, that's insane, man. Some of our out here in my area, you could travel for a few hours out, and some of our deepest holes, man, out here, I would say, and it's kind of rare too. It's not like it happens a lot. Some of our deepest holes are like 25, 30 feet, man. Like that that's it. You don't get any deeper than that. The rest of the day you're like in either 2 foot of water to maximum like 8 to 10,
Yeah.
maybe.
Columbia River,
Maybe.
I mean, it depends. Like, if you're in the gorge, is a lot deeper. Like, you'll see 100,
Yeah.
150 feet.
Oh my
The
gosh,
farther
man.
east
That's
you
not a
go,
river.
yeah, that's why, like, when I was
That's
talking
not
about
that's
jetting
not a
and some
river,
are
bro.
like, "Well, what the heck are you talking about? This is not even a river."
Oh my gosh.
But, I mean, like, somewhere like Dorshak Reservoir, like, you're crossing that thing when the water's down, you're still in 400 or 500 feet of water.
Are you serious?
Mhm. Like, that was
Dude, that's
trippy the first time
intense.
I went there. I went there in the spring, first trip ever, and I'm crossing, and I'm, like, looking at my graph, it just keeps going down and down and down, and I'm in, like, 500 feet. I'm like, "I'm comfortable in a kayak, but this is kinda eerie," you know?
Yeah, yeah,
One of
yeah.
those weird
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, I had that same feeling out here. There's a lake, crystal clear, man. You could see like 35 feet down.
Mhm.
Um, Lake Jocassee, smallmouth, largemouth trout, spotted bass now. So I went to check it out, and I'm used to about 100 feet. When I do see that on the lake, and I was crossing, man, and it just kept going, and dude, I reached 200 feet, and it's like you said, it's never been an issue. You've always felt safe. You've always been stable. But all of a sudden, man, that one turns into a two,
Yeah,
and you're like, you know what, man? I could really I could really drown. Like I couldn't drown in 100 feet, but like I feel like I could drown in 200 feet.
yeah,
So like, dude, I scooted to the bank as fast as I
oh, yeah,
could. But it's weird how you get that feeling, man.
yeah, when I cross out to the middle, I'm like, "I'm just gonna pick the speed up a little bit more just to get across."
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Let's get out of here.
Mhm.
Yeah. Dude, talking about speed, man. Something if you guys are, for you guys listening right now, I'll link Brandon's page down below so you guys can check out his profile. Brandon's got one of the sweetest rigs I have ever seen, and then the setup overall. That's one of the things I wanted to ask you. There it is. Yeah.
Yep,
Dude,
I'm back.
walk us through that incredible setup that you have, and if you don't mind, man, share up to you've got your rod storage, your trailer and everything, but that thing is sweet, man. Tell us about that
Yeah,
setup.
so, this is a new to me setup this year. It's a Bonafide, oh, there we go, Bonafide
Yep.
PWR 129, first year running it. I've always been a pro angler guy. It's kinda what I ran since the beginning, PA 12, PA
Hmm.
14, all 360s. But I wanted to try something different this year, and just kind of branch out. And this kayak's been really impressive. And I have no affiliation with Bonafide. I make it where I don't have any affiliation with any kayak company, just so I could run whatever I want.
Hmm.
This thing's is very stable. It actually surprised me. I was able to actually bedfish and stand on the seat, which I would have never tried to do on my pro angler when I had it. So it's been sweet.
Okay.
The layout, I mean, they did a good job of making it so that you can add all your accessories, motor, electronics, all that stuff. It was a blast to build. And then it's on a Snake River Lockers trailer. That side, yeah, Snake River Lockers trailer. So
Yeah.
this is their single. I have a half width rack, so that I can power load because I do run a rear motor, a Torpedo, travel ultralight, and then Yakima box on it, got all your rigging lights, reverse lights, all that type of things. But yeah, I mean, this is probably my favorite setup out of my 4 years kayak fishing. Um, Kind of gets all the bells and whistles from two Lowrance HDS 10 Pros, and does have active target, sniper pole, Dakota lithium batteries. But I think one thing that I like about this setup is pretty much like I pull in the parking lot and I could be on the water in less than 8 minutes. Like everything's
Yeah.
hard mounted on it. I don't have to spend too much time like putting things on at the boat launch. I can like show up late when everybody is like still getting their stuff all set up in the water. I can be in and out really quick. Wet launching it is super easy. I just throw on my motor and my rods and set up my light, my 360 light, and pretty much good to go. So
Yeah. That's awesome, dude. Yeah, I mean that thing looks sweet, man. For those of you guys tuning in, definitely check it out on YouTube. And like I said, I'll link Brandon's stuff down below. You definitely want to check that out. Do you rig everything yourself or
yeah,
you
everything.
that's what I thought.
Yeah, that's pretty
Okay.
much. I think a lot of my following is from people
Yeah.
trying to get ideas from how to build a kayak and
Mhm.
stuff like that. When I had my John boat, when I had my bass boat, I did everything myself because for me, it's like, yeah, it'd be nice to save the extra time to have someone else rig it for you, but if something goes wrong on the water, especially for me, like during a tournament, I want to be able to figure out how to diagnose that problem. So I know where every single wire in this kayak goes, all the fail safes, whatever it is. Like I can go through it and usually figure out what's wrong. And I always like leave extra wiring in some areas in case I need to like cut it on the water and re-put it to a terminal or something. Just all
Yeah.
that stuff. It's just a peace of mind for me. But yeah, everything. Yep, everything's done in the garage and my own hands.
Yeah, that's a great point. Any let me ask you this. Do you have any like history before that? Like, or did you just kind of start doing stuff on your own or how'd you get started with all that, rigging everything up, or did you just kind of trial and
Mm,
error?
Trial and error. I mean, kind of like what
Yeah.
people do to watch my videos. I just watch YouTube how to splice a wire, how to, solder a wire, all this type of stuff.
Mhm.
And I just learned over time. Back when I had my jumbo and my bass, but I didn't record any of that stuff. But it was just kind of just skills I picked up over time. And um, I don't know. For me, I can't keep anything stock. So like whether it's
Yeah.
my truck, my kayak, my firearms, whatever it is, like I can't keep anything stock. So I like to modify things and tinker with them, kind of make it your own, I guess you could say. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that part's always been fun to me.
Yeah. I mean, listen, for those of you guys listening, definitely take Brandon's advice because your boy has definitely been stranded on the water before without knowing where things go, and I've had to make calls and nobody answered. I was running when I first got started in this. This was about I think this is 4 years now. No, 3.5 years ago. Um, had a January tournament on Lanier, dude. The wind was howling. It was like 18 miles an hour.
Hmm.
I'm out there with my motor guide, and dude, it just ate up the wires, burned them up, bro. I could have burned my kayak. Like I could have like melted it.
Yeah.
And dude, there I was in the middle of the lake, and the motor was spinning me around in like 80 feet of water, and the water was like I don't know 50 degrees, and I had to paddle my way back, bro.
Yeah.
And just I took a big L that day, and then it happened again like 3 weeks later, different situation. So guys, definitely look up Brandon's YouTube, learn some rigging, and get your hands on some stuff because that's what I do now. If they're rigging it for me at dugout, I try to figure out what's going on and at least try to get my hands in there and see what I can and cannot do for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super helpful.
Yeah. Well, I don't even think that part is a rigging issue. I think that's a motor guide issue, which with them getting out in
Oh
the
yeah, yeah.
future, I can say that.
Oh yeah,
My
yeah,
buddies kind of always hated when I dogged on their motor guides because I've ran motor guides on like even as a co-angler, like all the tournaments I ever had where something went wrong and I couldn't fish the tournament was because that boat had a motor
Is it
guide
a motor
motor,
gun?
and they always had
Yeah,
overheating issues even to now. Even some of my buddies, even though they're like, I'm like, dude, you need to get a different motor. You need to get a different motor. They're like, no, it's fine. And they have like an issue, either overheating, those
yeah,
wires going bad, all this stuff. Um,
yeah. No, I've had a few friends. I mean, I've had at least anywhere from 5 to 10 people in the last couple of years that I know for a fact their motor guide just stopped working. The control stopped working. The It overheated. It almost tossed them out of the kayak. So, I mean, we know it's a fact at this point.
there
So,
was nothing else on the
I,
market until now. So,
yeah, until now,
mhm.
until now, is there any products you're excited for coming out that were showcased this year at ICAST or anything? Like, for example, the Garmin, or I know I think Minn Kota, they've got the
Mhm.
new motor. Anything you're excited about that
Um,
maybe you've got your eyes on?
I mean, I run a Torpedo, um,
Yeah.
obviously, and I've been able to get by without needing spot lock with it, with foot steering. Like, I just set a
Oh yeah.
throttle,
Yeah.
and then like I mean, I'm not staying in like a 3 to 5 foot radius, but I can stay like if there's wind or there's current, I can stay in a in the correct spot whenever I need to. But
Yeah.
one thing that intrigues me, and that's because I run Lowrance stuff, is the new Recon 36-inch shaft that Chad and Austin have been kind of playing with.
Yeah. Yeah. I see them.
Um,
Yeah.
just
Hmm.
because I geek out over like networking capability and having that all work together in conjunction, like with my units. That stuff is cool. I think it's cool to have
Yeah.
that foot pedal, that wireless foot pedal as well. That like for them on an XTR, like seems cool, but I'm sure you can make it where you can work it with like sitting in your seat or something like that. Because uh, for bow mounts, for me, I like, every single cast on the water is important. Like it's just another shot at trying to catch a fish or a game changing fish. So having a remote and take your hands off to deal with your remote and stuff like that, I've always disliked doing that. And that's why I never ran one in the beginning, even before getting a
Hmm.
Torpedo. I just like the fish hands free. So I think that Recon is definitely a cool one. Let's see. I'm trying to think what else. Like,
It doesn't have to be motors. It could be anything out there.
hmm. I mean, like Garmin Force is unique. I think they missed the ball on a lot of things. Like, I don't know what their R&D was like. Like, I don't know if they had a bunch of like,
Hmm.
I don't even know. Did they even have like pro staffers as kayakers to test it? I don't even know.
I'm not sure. I do know this. I know that they sent out a couple of models to a couple of shops early to kind of just rig it up and run it. By that time, it was more of like
Not even a
marketing promotion.
prototype at that point.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because I come from a heavy R&D background at my previous job, and I was asking the same question. But man, hit me with some of those because you are a gearhead. You are you know what you're talking about. Hit us with some of those points, man. I definitely want to hear
Yeah,
your
I mean,
opinion on that.
I didn't use it at iCast. I got to see it a little bit, but I didn't really look too in depth. I mean, the wireless like foot pedals is cool, but
Yes.
my experience back in the day with Garmin is that their force trolling motor is always disconnected from the foot pedal. So I don't know if they fixed that issue or not, but that's like, it's just another one of those things where it's like something wrong could happen, electronically, and then what? So that's
Yeah,
the
that
thing that
was.
concerns me, especially for kayakers. If you're,
Mhm.
I mean, for me, like if I'm crossing the Columbia River and it's 3 foot rollers out there, I need to get back to where my boat launches, and that thing goes out on me, then
Yeah,
I'm screwed. I mean, I guess you got a remote and all that, I think, right, with the Garmin motor.
I believe. Yeah, I believe you've got the remote. Yeah,
The
yeah,
poundage of thrust, I think they missed it on that.
yeah.
Guys want to go faster and all that. That
Especially if that motor's in the back, man.
And especially for the
Yeah,
price that they're pricing, which they have a lot of tech that goes into it. Like, the price
yeah,
makes sense, but I they just guys need to go fast. Like that's a
yeah,
I think that's a factor. Obviously, you would probably have like a 24 36 volt, option, so that maybe people don't need to run 36 volt and they can go smaller poundage if that's all they need for the vessel. But I think that was a big miss on their end. Spot locking from
what
the
was it?
rear, that's kind of weird.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I think, a lot of people would agree that these kayaks are not made to take waves from the back. That's just asking for
no,
disaster.
yeah.
So from a safety
I'm really,
standpoint,
I'm really interested. I'm really interested in that concept of having the spot lock in the back, just because, like you said, we're in a smaller vessel. The design is totally different, and the way it positions, you know how a spot lock positions, bro. You're right in that wind, and it's going to be really interesting to see how it sets up. I mean, if you're in an XTR, I can, kind of see it working. But at the end of the day, man, like I don't want to be in my kayak like for safety reasons and just ergonomically and the efficiency of fishing itself. I don't want to be casting out of the back of my kayak. Like it's just not,
yeah.
you know.
Well, I mean, you think about like basic river fishing, like, you want to present your bait in a natural way and have that bait come down with the current, right? Because these fish will set
Mhm.
up on ambush spots or whatever for someone to come by, come eat it. Like if you're spot locking a river system, so now what? You're facing downriver and trying to cast backwards,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. No, I think definitely for the price point, a lot of things can be improved
Mhm.
for the next models, and hopefully they do that. And like you said, it'd be a good idea to get some good kayak anglers and in there and get some R&D and actually really put the product to the test before releasing it
Yeah.
to the market. But I think now today, man, I don't know how you feel, but and it's not bashing on the industry, but I think now with baits technology, dude, it's almost like an arms race of who can rush to the finish line like first. Who can rush to the finish line with the next, you know, live forward facing live scope bait, you know,
Yeah.
or with the next kayak thing that cuz a lot of companies finally decided to say, "Hey, we're going to make the investment in kayak fishing. It looks like it's going to work. These guys aren't going anywhere, and it looks like more people are getting into the sport. So, hey, let's actually get into it."
Mhm.
So, I feel like it's just a race, man, to get there first.
Yeah, I mean, from my cast, from what I heard from a lot of people, is like a lot of companies are like, yeah, this is like the first prototype sample we've had. We haven't, been able to, like, we had to rush to get it here, type of thing. I think, I don't know. I mean, cost of everything's going up, and I, I really seems like a lot of companies are like, downsizing and stuff. So there's
Hmm.
probably a lot of different factors that go into it, but it definitely seems like things are not timed as what they used to be.
Yeah, it's an interesting year for sure because, economically within the country, within fishing, a lot of things have changed. A lot of things have happened. Um, but kayak fishing is still a growing sport, and it's still a young corner of this big overall market. I'm really interested to see what's going to happen in the next few years because we all know that the boating side of things, the tournament side of things, they're going through some major changes. They're going through a lot of changes, right? Rule changes, payouts are changing. Um, the demand for specific baits is changing, uh,
Another,
and it's gonna go ahead,
I
man.
was going to say another thing too is that a lot of these boat tournaments, there's barely any co-anglers anymore.
That's right.
A lot of them
Yeah,
don't even allow co-anglers now, but also a lot of them just the participation is much less. I think
yeah.
I don't know. Live scope's a part of it, but I have it, so it's not like I'm picking one side. But live scope's a part of it. Makes it tough for those
Hmm.
co-anglers.
Yeah, yeah. I will say this, man. I'm gonna say this uh, because I've had a lot of conversations this year. I've had a lot of people in my life that have gone from a boat to a kayak and are just enjoying fishing just a little bit better than before. It's almost like, you know, it's less stressful. It's a little more community. Um, and like you said before when we started the show, it's less expensive. And listen, I would love to. I'm not going to sit here and pretend, no, I wouldn't want uh, a skeeter one day. No, I'd love to have a boat one day. I would love to have a boat one day. But I think right now, as kayak fishing grows, there's just so many opportunities to grow as an angler with the sport. Um,
Less barriers
so
to
I think,
entry.
yeah, yeah. So right now, those of us that are in this sport, you know, people like you and me, and those of you guys listening, you know, we have to realize that we're the ones that have the influence to define and dictate where this is going.
Hmm.
And it would be great to learn from what's happening in the boating industry and saying, okay, we do like these things, like, and we don't like these other things. Maybe let's not head that way as a community. You get what I'm saying?
Hmm. Totally agree. It's funny, like when I had a boat and all this stuff, like I never had anybody like, "Oh, would you do to your boat? Like, what boat would you recommend?" Stuff like that. But ever
Yeah.
since being a
Yeah.
kayak, I get messages all the time. "Hey, what's that accessory that you got?" Or, "What kayak is that? Would you recommend a kayak?" And that I think that just shows the barrier to entry into kayak fishing. Like it's an access for people to get out in the water, and not, have so much limitations on, to get there. So
Yeah.
it's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You're right. And anybody, dude, I got started in a sun dolphin from a buddy at church. He was like, "Hey, I just put up a message on Facebook. I was like, does anybody have a kayak? I saw this guy on YouTube. I want to give it a try." And he's like, "Hey, my daughter's got a sun dolphin. She never uses it. We picked it up in my mother-in-law's SUV, dude. Uh, and I was like sprawled out in the back, like, you know, like with my face and palms on the ground, kayak
Mhm.
over me because I couldn't sit normally. It didn't fit.
Yeah,
And that's how I got started, man. And you can go get that kayak at Walmart for a few $100
yeah.
and just dump it in a pond and get going.
I've actually been thinking about getting a more basic kayak just for casual outings. Like, this is obviously like my tournament rig and deck to
Mhm,
the
mhm.
nines, which it's nice, it's cool, has all the gadgets and stuff, but sometimes it's nice to just get back to basics, and I've actually been thinking about it too.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
You
how
don't
I
need
feel
all
about
this to get
my
out in the water, obviously.
Yeah, yeah. That's how I feel about my RVR, man. This year, dude, around March, I really had to take a step back and I was like, "You know what? Like I'm not really enjoying this as much as I want to be." So I spent more time on my RVR. You know, I've got nothing against LiveScope, nothing at all. I think it's awesome, great tool, great resource. Hard to figure it out. Not just anybody can figure it
Oh,
out.
dude, I was trying to work on my FFS game yesterday, and I was like, I hate this thing. I
Yeah,
like it
yeah,
because 'cause I'm an offshore angler, and obviously, like, it's cool to learn new things, like, whether, whatever's opinion on it, it's just cool to, like, to learn. Like, I think that's
yeah,
the thing about us as anglers, it's like every day you're in the water, you're learning something new, so, for me, I'm like, "This is a new challenge that I gotta learn," but
yeah.
even that, it's just like, man, yesterday I was like, "Do I really know how to fish?" Because 'Cause I'm watching all these fish come follow my bait and stuff, and then they won't eat it. I was like, "Man, it's not as easy as people make it seems."
Bro, listen, you should come if you ever want to come to Lanier. I got a guest room open, man. You ever want to come and spend a day on the water, dude? I was just sitting there. I'm not even exaggerating, man. I literally watched in like a 6 hour span of time, dozens to like a couple hundred of fish in these different areas. I'm talking about just dozens, these schools of like 50 to 60 fish. Bro, I tossed my bait in the water and dude, they would zip to it and they would just like all surround it like bees and they would look at it, look at it, look at it, and then swim away. And I mean, like, I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I must really suck at this.
Dude, you gotta have some, like you can't have like a short temper when it comes to using it. Oh, dude,
No,
like
no,
I know
no.
I got a couple buddies who have short tempers, and I'm pretty sure they would rip their graph off and throw it in the water if they saw what I see. Like it's
Yeah, dude, I had a buddy quit fishing. Yeah, I had a buddy quit fishing. So this was a few years back. We were in his John boat, and we realized this one thing, dude. You know, before you had live scope, you're like, you leave a spot. Why? Well, they're not here. They're not here.
Mhm.
That's why we're not getting bit. They're not here. Who knows where they're at? We're gonna go run to this spot and see if they're here. Dude, when we dropped that transducer in the water, I mean, from the moment we started leaving the boat ramp, it was like here, here, there's two right there, there's three right there. And on Lanier, it's really only a couple of things. It's either going to be a spotted bass or maybe you found like a little school of crappie, or maybe you ran into a big school of striper. But for the most part, you're going to run into spotted bass. It's not like these other lakes. You've got walleye, you've got this, you've got no. And dude, everywhere we went, man, we what we learned that day was that wow, there's everywhere we fish, like there's fish around us, and we just suck. That's what we took away.
Yeah.
That's what we took away, bro. He quit within I think 2 months. Literally, he quit.
Damn.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He plays golf now. I'm not playing.
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, dude, I mean, I remember going out to one of these local lakes and I'm like, dude, these are some giants. And I'm trying to get them to eat, trying to get them to eat. And I'm like, dude, I don't know. I guess I'm terrible at fishing. And then one of them jumps and there's a freaking carp on a grass line. And I was like, I've been chasing carp for the last 30 minutes. I'm like, dude, I was like,
Yeah,
I don't know how some of these
yeah,
guys are, some guys are like, oh yeah, the fish is turned that way because it's going only this much. I'm like, dude, it all looks the
yeah.
same.
Dude, I will say this, man. I'm gonna give you this. I do know on Lanier. You guys listening should be proud of me because I've been spending most of the year in the river, but I went out to Lanier, bro. Hey, I can proudly say now, I know what a catfish looks like, and then I know what a gar looks like. The gar is easier, you know, they're so long and
Yeah.
skinny. But I threw in the other day, I was like, that's a catfish. Let me throw this little TRD craw at him and see if he'll eat it. Bro, I threw it in there and he just went boom. And dude, I was on for the fight of my life. He came up and I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "I was right." Like, you know. So I haven't gotten to that level where it's like I can make all these fish bite and I'm confident and I can get this school fired up. But at least I know I can throw it at catfish and I can catch it.
Yeah. I was earlier this year. We have a lot of white sturgeon out here, and we usually
Yeah.
do like a sturgeon trip. A bunch of us in kayaks go out there. We go out to this place called Scappoose Bay, and the bay is only like 12 feet at the deepest, but most part it's like 6 to 8 feet. And it's just massive sturgeon, like anywhere. I mean, you'll catch small ones in the 2.5, 3 foot range, but there's like 6 to 8 footers out there.
Wow,
And
dude. That's
my
crazy.
buddy's just like, "Are we in the right spot? Like, is this the area they're at?" And then I was like, "Hold on, let me drop this down real quick." And I pan, you can just see the sturgeon just there's like stacked on top of each other in this little deep pocket. And he's like, "Holy crap!" I was like, "Yeah, we're gonna catch a fish every cast," and it was a blast.
That's
Seeing
awesome,
sturgeon
dude.
on there is something different, though. I was like,
Yeah.
that's a big mark."
Yeah, I can imagine, man. Um, what are you? Because like I'll say this: have you ever thrown the transducer on a buddy when they're riding by on their kayak
Hmm.
and you see like that big mark?
Hmm.
Is that what a sturgeon looks like? Just kind of like this, like how? I
It's
mean, I can't even
it's
imagine like
like
a 6 foot sturgeon.
Well, because their tails, I don't know. It's like they always look like they swim like kind of like a bow, like a U, not really like a U, but it's I don't know. It's totally different. Like they have massive tails on them, so those are always
Yeah,
distinguished. But it's bigger than anything I've seen. But again, we're only in like 6 to 8 feet of water, so
dude, that's not. What are you guys catching him with?
we just use bait, so like squid or herring, like
Nice.
different size herring. Like I'm a red label herring guy, which is a little bit smaller ones. You get more in a pack. And sometimes
Hmm.
like these fish, dude, they'll eat anything. So like I'll cut them in half, and some guys will be like, "Yeah, I just want to use green label or something." Those are bigger ones, and I'm like, "Good luck, have
Yeah.
fun with that." It's like it doesn't take much to get these to eat, but it's a blast, dude. We actually take a lot of breaks just because you can literally get out there and catch them on every cast. And it's something we do like early spring or like during the winter time just to break a sweat during that time of the year. It's fun.
Yeah, that sounds like a blast, man. That's incredible. Like I said, I was with Rudd yesterday,
Mhm.
and I was in about 5 feet of water, dude, crystal clear, and I saw this 50-inch muskie, swim beneath me. Dude, we don't here in Georgia, man. It's awesome for bass fishing. Don't get me wrong, bass fishing here is awesome. We got a little bit of trout too, but man, we're not gonna see muskie anywhere around here, anything or like pike or anything crazy.
Yeah.
Dude, I saw this muskie just swimming by like a submarine. Brandon, I lost my mind, dude. I mean, I started yelling at him. I was like, dude, what is going on? I was like, then he told me, oh yeah, he's like, there's giant muskie here, by the way, just a heads up.
Yeah.
But the water was so
Did it
clear.
freak you out?
Dude, yeah. I mean, it was like right beneath my kayak. I just noticed this giant dark shadow, and you know, it's just different. It's just different. We don't get any of that here.
Yeah, we
So
don't.
I can't imagine sturgeon.
Yeah, I mean, the water's usually super dirty, so we can't really see them. But they're jumpers. They'll jump in the air. Like, a lot of people. So we have a big community event out here called the Sturgeon Social Sleigh Ride. It's a bunch of
Mhm.
kayakers. Usually, there's like anywhere from 40 to 70 that goes out, and we'll go sturgeon
Wow.
fishing. It's a winter thing that we do out here. And but that area usually where they fish is a lot deeper. But this bay, these fish, they got nowhere to go besides straight horizontal or up. So we get a lot of our searching that go airborne, and it's always
Yeah.
a blast seeing them jump like 5, 6 footers, just jumping up, splashing, fish tailing out of the water. It's sweet.
Yeah. That's awesome, dude. That sounds like so much fun. I'm a little jealous right now. The closest thing we've got, I think, is just big striper, and that's nowhere near the same.
You know,
But man, I've really go ahead,
I
man.
was gonna say your story reminded me. I don't know if you saw the video of Blanchard when he was fishing on the ocean and like well, he
Yeah,
thought it was a whale at a time, but people kept saying it was like a great white swam under his
yeah,
kayak, and dude just went
yeah,
straight pale and started freaking out. I don't know if you saw that or
yeah,
not, dude. I
dude.
that was
I
that gave
saw
me a
that
good
video.
laugh.
Yeah, I saw that video, man. Good old Greg. Like I've been watching him for a long time, and when was that? Was that this year or last year? But I know I saw it.
I
It
think it
was
was like
last year,
last
wasn't
year
it?
or the year before. It might be a couple years old now. I don't know. Because I
Okay.
remember I was
Yeah, I
still
kn-
like, I mean, this is only my fourth year kayak fishing, but this was like
yeah,
I think part of the first half, and I was like, yep, I'm not going in the ocean. That solidified it for me because
yeah,
I have a bunch of
yeah,
people, buddies who kayak fish in the ocean and the bays and stuff, go catch lingcod, rockfish, and all that. A lot of guys go squidding out here, and I'm just like,
yeah,
think about it. I saw Blanchard's video. I was like, no, that solidified it for me. I'm good. I'm gonna step back, freshwater only.
yeah. I don't think I could do it, man. I don't even pretend, bro. Like I try to be as safe as possible on a kayak. I
Hmm.
really do. So if they hey if the boys want to go like catch fish out in the middle of the ocean in kayaks, more power to them, bro. More power to them.
Yeah,
You give me in a boat, I'll go out there. I've caught shark, I've caught snapper, barracuda, all that stuff, and but in a kayak, man, it'd be hard to get me out there, man. It'd be tough, dude.
yeah,
Yeah, my number one priority, bro, is to get home at the end of the day.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
I agree.
But man, dude, I've definitely enjoyed the conversation. What I want to do now, man, is I want to talk a little bit about your future plans because you're someone with a lot of potential in this industry and someone who is a great tournament angler and just all around good for the sport, man. Tell us what your plans are for the next year for 2026. Anything you're excited about, whether it be fishing projects, companies you're working with, content you're creating. It doesn't matter, man. What do you what's in store for you for the next year?
Yeah, so I think I told you earlier. I recently walked early for graduation last spring, so finally done. Pretty much gotten my marketing degree. So I got two online classes to take this fall. So I got a little bit of time just to take a break with some things, but hoping to put that marketing degree to work. And I'm thinking about working for some company out east. Actually, that's been the goal I've been talking about with a bunch of my buddies. single, no kids, so why not take the chance and move out east? I
Yeah.
would love to go fish, the Bassmaster Kayak Series or something, just to dip my feet in it. I'm gonna get my butt whooped. I'm gonna be donating a bunch, but for me, it's like, it's like how can you learn without trying? So why not go
Yeah.
jump and do something like that? That's the ultimate goal. Obviously, everything has to
Yeah.
line up right. I'm not going to jump on a job that doesn't make sense all the way around. But that's the plan. Continue with the content. I actually have a pro angler that I'm selling now because I decided to ditch the build on that. So kind of
Mhm.
talking with a company about building out a kayak, another one. So more kayak builds coming to that. But yeah, I'm just kind of teaching and doing all that. Helping. I always do seminars here in the Pacific Northwest for people. I work with like the trade shows and stuff, trying to teach
Yeah.
people, bass fishing. Even though this is like a cold water, dominant environment around here, but the
Mhm.
salmon ain't running
Mhm.
good, and then they got to go fish some other stuff. So why not get people bass fishing and learn how to appreciate it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great way to see it. Man, let me ask you this, when you say out east, which part out east? Like,
Honest,
which area are you thinking?
Honestly, as far east as I can, because driving from Oregon out to the Carolinas, to Florida, even to Texas is a long ways. That's
Yeah.
that's my ultimate goal. I think I've kind of done what I wanted to do out here, and I got goals to chase. And why not take the opportunity to do it now?
Yeah, dude, I 100% agree with you. You know, I'm 34 this year, man, and I spent my 20s uh trying to build things, succeeding and failing, trying again,
Mhm.
trial and error, just gaining wisdom as much as I could and growing as a person. And I wouldn't change it for anything. So now that I'm married and with kids, like I look back and I'm like, okay, that was definitely the time and place to do those things. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's
I
good.
actually turned 31 in October, so it's like I don't know. I had my experimenting in my 20s and stuff like that. I kind of got my foundation set with a lot of things. I have great companies that support me in what I'm doing. So it's taken a long time for this little guy in the Pacific Northwest to build his brand and all that stuff to get to this position. But now it's like, okay, if I were to do it, I think I could probably make something happen. And I still want to, obviously have like a steady paying job and all that. So trying to
Yeah,
play it on the safe route like I always do.
absolutely. Well, bro, you're doing a great job, man. I just want you to know that. And I know that I'm not the only one that sees it. I know that the people that are tuning in, those of you guys that have kept up with Brandon, I know you guys see it as well. But dude, I've got three rapid fire questions for you
Oh boy,
before we exit, man. So
let's do it.
all right, here we go. The first one is real easy, man. Favorite fishing snack. One snack that you which what's it gonna be, man?
Ooh,
One snack on the water.
dude, that's a crazy one because when I'm fishing like a tournament or something, or if it's a short fishing, I don't bring snacks on the water.
I was about to say you're so intense you don't eat, bro.
Honestly, it was a lot easier in my early 20s. These days, I'm like, I think I need to snack on something. But what is it called? The PB and J's that
Dude, the Uncrustables?
yeah, dude, that's been
Yeah,
my go-to. Mhm.
yeah, those are clutch, man. Those
Yeah.
are clutch.
I'm like,
For
"Dude, it's
these,
so expensive, not worth it," but it is worth it at the same time because I
yeah,
just literally, like, freeze them, throw them in my black pack or something, and then if I need a snack, if I'm making I make a lot of real long runs, so it makes
oh
it
yeah,
so I'm like, "Hey, just pull it out and just snack on it real quick," but that's just easy.
bro. You can get the little circle cutter thing. You can get it on Amazon. So make your PB and J's, save some money,
Mhm.
pop that little circle thing in there, and boom, you've got your homemade Uncrustables. All right, so Uncrustables, that's solid. Those of you listening, if you haven't tried Uncrustables, I had a buddy hadn't tried them the other day. Just try them. They're good. All right, one bait that you throw for the rest of your life, man. If someone just came up to you and said, "Hey, man, only one bait all year long," what's it going to be?
Mm, man, that's a good one. Um, a stick bait, probably.
Stick bait?
Mhm.
Okay.
It's just a tried and true bait.
Yeah, yeah,
It's just something that works, and I pretty much can catch a fish on it all year long. I guess winter would be a little bit different, but not many of us fish
yeah.
in winter anyways, but probably stick bait, 5-inch stick
Stick
bait,
bait.
whatever way you wanna roll.
Yeah, and hey, you can rig it as many ways too, so
Mhm.
all right, last one, man. And listen, I know I've had some guys tell me, "No, I don't have one," but I know we all do. What's your biggest fishing superstition, bro? Like me, I don't wash my gloves sometimes. If I had a really good day of fishing, I won't wash my gloves.
Damn. It's funny because I don't believe in any of that superstition stuff. I used
Dude,
to.
listen, neither do I, but I still do.
So I'll tell you a little story that leads up to it. So I used to think that like seeing a deer on the way to a tournament was bad, or just on the
Mm,
way to fishing was bad because my dad and I,
yeah.
when we used to go fishing together when I was younger, we saw a deer on the way to fishing. We're like, oh no, we're gonna
Bro,
skunk. We're not gonna get
bro,
anything.
I've heard that, bro. I've heard that.
But then, like, over the years, it hasn't been as bad, and last year during my championship at Door Shack, there's deer running wild everywhere. I smoked a deer heading to the boat launch in the morning, and I thought my truck and my kayak trailer was totaled, but I got lucky, killed it, and I was like, "Dude, I saw it, I killed it." I'm like, "That cannot be good," and then I ended up winning the championship. So, I don't know.
Dude.
That made me kind of believe my superstitions are not real.
Oh my gosh, bro. Now
It
you need to hit a deer
it was
every
a dude,
time.
it was terrible. I was like, "There's no way this is how this tournament's starting." I got lucky. I swerved just in time. It hit the side of my truck, no damage, and then I felt a big
Wow, dude.
thunk thunk, which was, I think, my rear tire in my truck, and then also my trailer running it over.
Trailer tire.
But I was thinking
Yeah.
I was gonna have blood splattered all over the trailer and then kayak, but nothing. And it was
Man,
just
that
one of those
must
things,
have
I
yeah.
saw it on the side, his eyes were glowing, staring at it, it's staring at me, I keep going, I slow down, last second, darts right in the middle,
Oh my gosh.
and I was just like, "No way," locked the brakes up, turned, and yeah,
I hate that, man. I hate that. I've had the same thing happen to me a couple years ago. Ruined the front of the Tacoma. So I wasn't on the way to a championship. I was on the way to work, and I missed that day at work. So actually that wasn't too bad either. But yeah, man. That is a crazy story for you to start the championship off by hitting a deer and then winning it, dude. That's
yeah,
is that YouTube video up somewhere?
yeah, it's up, it's a 2-day tournament up at Door Shack, I got the day I didn't I was
You
literally I
gotta
didn't
send
even
me
start
that.
recording in the morning, and I was literally just driving to the
Yeah.
boat launch. I was gonna do my recording there, and then the deer happened. I didn't pull out the camera or anything. You can barely see. I could barely see it behind me. Like I had to turn on I have like reverse lights on my truck, like aftermarket lights. I turn them
Mhm.
on. I can barely see the shadow in the back. Um,
Yeah.
but I wasn't gonna go back. I was trying to get to the boat launch. I'm like, okay, truck's fine, trailer's fine, kayak's fine. All right, we got a tournament fish. Let's go.
Let's go. That is a great way to close out this episode, man. That's gonna be a hard one to beat
I
right
just
there.
hope that hopefully it doesn't happen to anybody else, but
Yeah, man.
it's a rough,
But dude, thank you so much, man. Again, thank you for your time.
of
It,
course.
it means a lot, man. And I know people are going to enjoy hearing your thoughts and a little bit of your story. And let people know real quick before we hop off where they can find you and how they can connect with you on socials.
Yeah, so full name Brandon HUA dot fishing. That's where Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, I guess TikTok too. I do a little bit on TikTok, but not a whole bunch. But YouTube and Instagram is primarily where I keep things mostly active. You can send me a DM anytime you guys got questions or anything. Always happy to help. I think that's one thing that a lot of the people who follow me know is that if they have questions, they can just reach out to me, and unless I'm fishing a tournament or something, I get back pretty quick. So always willing to help.
Yeah.
I don't gatekeep anything. It doesn't bother me. It's about growing the sport and having everybody else feel included.
Yeah. That's such an awesome mindset. And, with that, man, I wish you the best of luck. And thank you so much for being on here. Hey, and I look forward to having you back here, man. I'm excited to have you back and talk some more fishing.
For sure. Yeah. Anytime, man. And hopefully you and I can link up on the water one of these days.
Dude, that would be great, man. That'd be phenomenal. I've got a guest room here and you're always welcome, bro.
Sounds great.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, man. And hey, until next time, bro.
All right, see you.
Well, there you have it, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. As always, remember to take advantage of all of the links down below. I'll leave Brandon's information down below, my information down below. Leave us a comment, leave some feedback. Let us know how we're doing. And remember, take advantage of our Omnia Pro discounts as a part of the Serious Angler Network. Make sure you check those links out below. And guys, until next time, I hope you get to send it. See you on the next one.